right, so we've been driving the 2020 Toyota Supra for about a week now. And what are your first impressions, Jen?
I love it. I'm ready to buy today.
It is really nice. Now, we did ask a lot of people on Instagram and Facebook to kind of ask us some questions. So let's go through some of those questions and see if we can answer them.
Absolutely. Okay, so your first question from MZ3 Sedan, okay, Pa.
Okay.
Do you think it's better than the MK V4 Supra?
So it is a much better car overall. They're talking about the last generation, which was like the 90s, early 90s.
Yeah.
And that Supra was great. I mean, it was a great car, but it was really a car that we kind of idolized, especially guys that are in my age group, because it was in every magazine, Super Street and Sport Compact Car and Import Tuner. So
it has a lot of nostalgia.
A lot of nostalgia. It's a little idolized. I think we're choosing to remember it to be a little bit better than it really was, because this car from the factory has more horsepower. It's obviously a more modern chassis. It's gonna be a better handling car. So, yeah, I'd say car for car, this is a better car.
Okay. All right. So your next question, Jazzman Vince.
Jazzman.
Kind of fun. What's your first impression? Is it more of a sports car or a grand tourer?
I would say that it is definitely more along the lines of a sports car. It doesn't have the big luggage space that usually grand touring cars have for going on bigger trips. But it still has. I mean, it's got enough room for a little bit of luggage.
Not my luggage, though, right?
Not your luggage, no. But
I mean, you could go on a great trip without me.
Yeah, this is definitely like guys with like little backpacks could go on a trip together, maybe. But I don't think we can get your makeup bag in there.
Probably not.
But it is a more of a sports car. It feels like kind of a bigger, faster Mazda MX-5 RF, kind of the cars we had before. So I think it is more of a sports car than
It's a weekend car.
Yeah, it's definitely a weekend car. It's not going to be a big roomy road trip car.
Yeah. Or go to the grocery store and load up on groceries.
No, we can get a couple cases of water in there.
We tested that out today, didn't we?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Keenman 14. Does the front end grow on you?
I think that this car is one of those cars you really have to see in person to really appreciate. I mean, in pictures it looks so different from different angles, and especially in the black, it's really hard to kind of tell what it looks like in the photos. But in person, yeah, it's a really good looking car.
Yeah.
I think it's gotten a lot of attention. People seem to really love it.
It feels like when we're driving around, people are actually turning their heads and taking a second look.
Yeah.
And I love the interior. I'm in love with the red.
Yeah, it's pretty nice.
Okay, Waco Man Bob, what size tires go on the Supra?
I don't know off the top of my head. I do know that they're Michelin Pilot Sport S cup tires, basically. So they're very sticky and they're very good handling tires, but I don't know the size of them off the top of my head.
Okay. Steve Blake Ford, he wants to know, does the overall performance of the car match your expectations you had when you first saw the new Supra in person?
Honestly, because my only frame of reference was the FRS, the Toyota, 86 car, was that it was going to be a Toyota, so they were going to detune it and make it less of a performance car, because that's kind of what Toyota's always done. But no, this one's pretty much exceeded my expectations, especially when you put it in sport mode. You get the barbling exhaust.
That's my favorite. That's my favorite mode.
So good.
I love how that sounds.
It is a really good car. I would say it exceeded my expectations performance-wise, and it handles really good. The manual shifting of the paddle shifters is really good. Overall, it's a pretty impressive car.
Yeah. Okay. 5-Speed Nick, he wants to know, how would the space be for someone who is over 6 foot tall?
Well, I am 5'10", and there's actually little, kind of zagato bubbles in the roof, where the center of the roof is a little bit more narrow, but above each, the driver and passenger, there's a little roof bump. So I've got another, 5 inches, maybe 6 inches above my head. So I'm sure a 6-footer will fit in here fine. And the seat does go down further and back, so I think you'd have plenty of room.
And for the record, I'm 4'11" and a half, so there's plenty of space. They're going to add that half in there, just for reference, right? Okay. German Chocolate Aussies wants to know, how good is it as a grand tour?
Well, kind of like we said, it's a great car. It's a great performance car. You can get 2 carry-on bags and maybe a little bit of extra stuff in it, but it's not really a grand touring, long distance, a lot of luggage car.
Okay. Dr. Wardbon TV, does it drive like a BMW?
It does and it doesn't. I think Toyota did spend a little bit more time trying to make this feel more like its own car. I mean, it definitely has a lot of BMW stuff in it, the switchgear, a lot of the screens and stuff like that are definitely BMW-like, but it's definitely its own car.
Yeah. Clint Watkins wants to know, why did Toyota ruin the namesake?
Now, this has been one of probably the most controversial cars that I've had, of any of the test cars I've had in the last several months. I mean, people either love the Supra, or they hate the new Supra, or they love to hate the new Supra. Right. It's been very, very polarizing, and it's mostly from people who have never driven it or even seen one in person. So I'd have to say that this is definitely a car worthy of the Supra nameplate. It's probably not a purist car for the people who want the 2JZ engine, but I mean, there's literally people that are upset that this car doesn't have a 20-year-old engine in it. So I mean, it's not going to make everyone happy, but I think it's a great car. It definitely didn't ruin the Supra nameplate.
And then going back to, we kind of talked about this a little bit earlier, but Robbie B wants to know, how big is the trunk?
It's about 2 carry-on bags is about all you're getting in there. You're not putting your golf clubs in it. You're not putting anything long or large in it at all. Even the opening's pretty narrow. There's actually room underneath the hips, but the opening is pretty small.
Okay, and then the last question we have is from VideoStar32. Wants to know, is it worth the markup?
I never really feel any car's worth paying over window sticker for.
But you're kind of cheap, though, right?
Yeah, I am kind of cheap. So, I mean, it's at MSRP, it's a really good value.
Yeah.
The markup, if you're buying a launch edition because you're planning it like as an investment, maybe. But honestly, I think that these will fizzle out in the next couple of months, and you'll be able to buy them at MSRP. So unless you just have to be the coolest new kid on the block with the latest car, it's probably not worth the markup. Yeah.
No, those are all the questions we have.
So far? Okay. So, I mean, what are your impressions of it as like a daily driver? Because we've been driving it for a while now.
We have. I mean, I don't think it would work for me as a daily driver. I find that I have an SUV, so I'm finding that every day I'm constantly needing to fold down seats, to put large things in there for just day to day. But I do love it from a weekend standpoint. I can see definitely cruising around in it, but I think overall the size for me over time would be just a little too small.
A little too small. Yeah, I kind of feel like it's really built for a second or third car.
Yeah, no, I totally agree.
It's kind of like a Miata in that fact that like you have no real luggage space. You couldn't haul someone to the airport. Like I couldn't get international luggage in the back of that car for one person, let alone 2. So I think it's a great second or third car. It's a lot of fun to drive, especially in sport mode.
Yeah, just the way it looks on the outside, it's beautiful. It's very sexy, right?
Yeah, it is a very pretty car. I mean, that's the thing. I think the pictures lose so much of all the curves and the body lines, just how nice and sexy the hips are on it. It's just a really pretty car. So cool. So those are our answers to the top questions we got from Instagram for the Toyota Supra.
Sounds great.
See you guys in the next video.
Bye.